Hello, biology students. We're moving right along into the gymnosperms. This video will be focusing specifically on the conifers, which are very frequent in our area, such as this Douglas fir here and the cedar tree here. The hope is you'll be able to identify these different conifers simply by looking at, for instance, their bark. Western red cedar has the amazing ability to actually grow from logs. You can see all these former branches turning into new trees. First Nations people use many parts, if not all parts, of the Western red cedar, including this bark, which they strip off to use in weaving, basketry, and more. Here we can see some cones. That's what conifers are. They're cone-bearing trees. And we're going to focus right now on the leaves. So looking at the leaves to determine what species you might be looking at. So helping with plant ID. Here we have, again, the Western red cedar with scaly leaves. You can assume if you have a scaly-leaved conifer that it's probably the Western red cedar, as seen here. Another common conifer is the Douglas fir, with needle-like leaves, and you notice the leaves sort of go in almost all directions around the central axis of this stem. Compare that to the grand fir here, and the leaves don't go around all sides. They're also more notched at the tip rather than pointed. That's the grand fir. Here's western hemlock. The leaves, needle-like leaves, are smaller in size and also vary quite a bit in terms of their size. Some are short or medium, some are longer. The more obvious one is that of pine trees. Here's a short pine or lodgepole pine, it's also called. We know that, say, it's a short pine because these needle-like leaves are in bundles of 2, as opposed to, say, bundles of 3, which would be found in ponderosa pine. Another feature we can look at is the bark. So we were at a cedar, now we're at a Douglas fir with this deeply furrowed bark, which is fire resistant. Here we have a cedar on the right and a spruce on the left. The cedar more sort of strippy bark, whereas the spruce, such as the Sitka spruce, is looks like almost like dragon scales. Cone is another feature we could look at. That was a cone of a grand fir. Here we're going up. Grand fir. Here are some cones of a Douglas fir that look like mouse tails. Those 3-pronged bracts. Cones do come in many sizes and shapes. So get out and check out this tree of life, as it's known by the First Nations people. And happy exploring for gymnosperms.